In my last life, my wife, Sophia Hayes, told me she wanted a divorce because the one who got away was coming back to the States. She offered me $100 million as a settlement. I refused. I was thrown out of the Hayes family mansion. She slammed the divorce papers against my head. She threatened my parents, my sister's job, and then hired thugs to break both of my legs. Eventually, I signed the papers, walking away with nothing. I watched them, Sophia and Ryan, become a happy couple. Then I was thrown into a river and drowned. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day Sophia first told me she wanted a divorce. Cole, let's get a divorce. Ryan is flying back from Europe. In the living room of our villa, I watched Sophia slide a signed divorce agreement. Across the coffee table, a faint smile tugged at her lips. I'll give you $100 million. It's more than enough to live on for the rest of your life. I signed the papers, tears welling in my eyes. I pushed the check back toward her as my mind screamed, just sign the damn thing. I don't want to be here another second. Sophia's hand froze above the signature line. Her eyes darted around the room. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Just as she was about to sign, a voice echoed in her head again. What are you looking at? Stop wasting my time. Up. $60 million in a high-yield account, $10 million each for Mom, Dad, and my sister. And the last $10 million? Well, that's for having some fun. There were only two of us in the room. I hadn't spoken a word. But somehow, she was certain she was hearing my thoughts. Wasn't I supposed to be her pathetic, loyal lapdog? Why the sudden change? Or maybe she thought I knew something she didn't, something that made me eager, desperate, even to divorce her. She suddenly cut off my train of thought, afraid that if she heard any more, she'd lose control. Give me all 3 copies of the agreement. I stared at her, stunned. The check wasn't even in my hand yet. Swallowing my pride, I handed the papers back. This wasn't the first time Sophia asked for a divorce. 5 years ago, she tried. Her precious Ryan had promised to return, but stood her up. We got as far as the papers, but I refused to sign. After that, something in her shifted. She grew colder, distant. 3 years ago, she brought it up again. Ryan was finally coming back. Same story, same script. That time, she kicked me out of the master bedroom and moved me to the guest room down the hall. Naively, I thought it was just a tantrum. But I ended up living in that room for the next 2 years, including today and now. This was the 3rd time. You can only cry wolf so many times, but Sophia, she seemed determined to walk into the same trap again. I was tired, so tired. If it hadn't been for the $100 million, I would have been gone long ago. But this time, I agreed on. She was the one hesitating, tested the waters. So, when should we go to the courthouse to finalize this? There's a 1-month waiting period, right? Sophia scanned me from head to toe. Nothing. Unusual. She spoke, her voice cold as ice. If you're that eager to get divorced, I don't mind making sure you walk away with nothing. I was about to reply when her phone rang. She snatched it up, her voice softening instantly into a gentle coo. Ryan, you said you're an hour from Seattle. I'll head to the airport now to pick you up. Of course. In Sophia's world, Ryan always came first. She caught the calm in my eyes and scoffed. Don't play these push-on-pull games. With me, Cole, you'll never be half the man he is. Then she smirked. Come with me to the airport. You need to see for yourself just how big the gap is between you two. I stared at her smug expression, biting my lip until I tasted blood. Tears burned behind my eyes. I never imagined I could mean so little to someone I gave everything to. I nodded, but in my mind I was already racing ahead. Fine, the airport it is. The sooner I can push those two together, the sooner I can grab my $100 million and run. Get away from this toxic woman. There's a whole world of better prospects waiting for me. Hearing my thoughts, a flicker of surprise crossed Sophia's face, quickly replaced by a flash of rage. You'd better remember your place, she snapped. She glanced at me one last time before snatching the divorce papers and disappearing into the master bedroom, shutting the door hard behind her. I knew she kept us safe in there. She was probably locking the papers away, afraid I'd try to steal them. I went back to the guest room and changed into a dull gray sweatsuit, something plain, something forgettable. I wanted to look as unremarkable as possible. I met Sophia 6 years ago. Her perfect Ryan had just dumped her and flown off to Europe. I was delivering for Uber Eats when I found her passed out, cold, outside a bar. Out of a simple sense of duty, I took her home. One thing led to another. The next day, she tracked me down, dragged me to the courthouse, and married me on the spot. Her parents were furious, but Sophia shut them down like they were nothing. For the first year, she tried to play the part of a wife, get my parents and sisters stable jobs. We never connected on a deeper level, but she did everything a wife was expected to do, and I was content. I thought maybe, just maybe, if I worked hard enough, I could win her over or at least earn her parents' approval. But a year in, I overheard her on the phone with Ryan. He was supposed to come back in a month. He never did. Somehow Sophia blamed me. She handed me divorce papers and offered me $50 million to walk away. But I was head over heels for her. My family begged me to think it through, pleaded with me, but I wouldn't listen. I believed my love could bridge the chasm between our worlds. I refused to sign. That was the moment her attitude turned ice cold. Disgust crept into her expression every time she looked at me. Resentment followed. 3 years ago, she got another call and was coming back. She demanded a divorce again. I refused. Again and again. But Ryan never came. She blamed that on me too. Said I cursed her life. Kicked me out of her room. We've been living as strangers under the same roof ever since. She treated me like a servant, like a fool, kept acting like a loyal dog, waiting for her heart to soften. But this time, I had no doubt. Ryan was really coming back. On the drive to Seattle-Tacoma, Sophia kept trying to make conversation, kept my face a mask of indifference, letting silence grow heavy between us. In my last life, I spent 6 years trying to warm her heart only to find it was made of solid iron. All I earned for my devotion was pain. She threatened my family, had my legs broken. She left me with nothing. She stood by while I was dragged away and thrown into a river, left to die. The memory twisted in my gut like a knife. Sophia, if I had the chance to do it all over again, I swear I would have rather walked past you that night and let the world take advantage of you. Her hands jerked on the steering wheel. The car behind us swerved violently. Driver jumped out, ready to shout until he saw her face. Saw the expensive car? He muttered a few curses under his breath and drove off. Sophia, I've missed you so much, Ryan Crawford beamed, pulling her into a tight, possessive hug. Pressed together like that, anyone watching would think they were the real couple, like last time. I stood a good distance, a waist-tone-faced, detached. I timed them. They held on for nearly 3 minutes. Finally, Ryan glanced over at me. You must be Cole. A surge of contempt rose in my chest, but I kept my tone level. Man, I'm Cole. Sophia's soon-to-be ex-husband. I gestured. Between them, you two haven't seen each other in years. I bet you have a lot to talk about, right? Then I turned to her. Saf. Just remembered my buddy Mark needed me for something. I'm gonna take off. I gave her a calm nod. You two catch up. Go on, you two snakes. Get it over with so you can't hurt anyone else. I stepped aside, made to leave, to give them their space. At the word snakes, Sophia's face flushed with rage. She spun around sharply. You think you're being so magnanimous, don't you? She hissed, trying to get my attention. Is that it, Cole? Your little games are pathetic. I will divorce you. But not right now. Her words were like a knife to the chest. It hurt. It really hurt. $100 million is on the table, I said quietly. I'll divorce you this very second. I just see things clearly now, I added, my voice thick with false humility. I'm not good enough for you, seeing Ryan. Just made it obvious how massive the gap between us really is. Sophia froze, stunned by my words. Ryan, standing beside her, had a flicker of smug satisfaction in his eyes. He clapped me on the shoulder. Hey, don't sell yourself short, Cole. You've got a lot of room for growth. Don't waste your breath on him, Sophia snapped, grabbing my arm and practically tossing me into the passenger seat of her car. She turned back to Ryan. Ryan, I'll take you home first. I stared at her, completely baffled. I couldn't figure her out. Just a while ago she couldn't. Stand the sight of me. She probably wouldn't have noticed if I dropped dead right in front of her. On the way, Ryan chattered endlessly about his exciting life in Europe. I tuned it out. All I could think about was Sophia, trying to piece her behavior together. Finally, I landed on the only logical explanation. She must have hit her head hard. The car screeched to a halt. Ah! Sophia slammed on the brakes and pulled over. She pointed a finger straight at me. Get out. Right. Ryan's face lit up with triumph, but he masked it with fake concern. Sophia, come on. I'm sure Cole didn't mean anything by it. Let him off the hook just this once. Her gaze was sharp, ice cold. You don't have to defend him. He brought this on himself. I feigned confusion. But inside I was ecstatic. Done with the act, are we? Perfect. Just throw the $100 million check at me and I'll be on. My way. $100 million. I, Cole Peterson, was about to become a bona fide tycoon. I stepped out of the car without a moment's hesitation and watched her speed away. First thing I did, called my best friend. Marco, my man, come pick me up tonight. I'm taking you to the Velvet Rose. The works. That night, we arrived at the Velvet Rose right on time. But I wasn't greeted by 10 dancers. I was met by the one person I least wanted to see. Mark took one look at her and bolted. I tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come. 10. Dates, Cole? Just how desperate are you? She grabbed me by the collar and dragged me out of the Velvet Rose like a sack of trash. I closed my eyes, pretending to be embarrassed. But inside, I was laughing my head off. You think you're so high and mighty? I was celibate for 6 years for you trying to melt that block of icy coal you call a heart. And what was the result? A stone doesn't bloom. Sophia, I've disgraced myself, I forced out, voice heavy with guilt and shame. Not worthy of you anymore. Let's just get the divorce. Ryan's the one who's right for you. Her eyes scanned me, from head to toe, searching, hunting for a lie. If she couldn't hear my thoughts, she probably would have dragged me straight to the courthouse right then and there. I pretended to lose consciousness, without hesitation. She shoved me into the back seat and drove away from the club. Yes. As long as you understand that, she said coldly. Lying there in the back, the thick perfume in the car made my stomach turn. But eventually the alcohol won. I truly did pass out. The next morning I opened my eyes and froze. Horror crept over me. This was the master bedroom. Is it the stunningly beautiful face hovering above me? Sophia. My heart pounded. I scanned the room in a panic, desperate to find my clothes and escape. What have I done? Drunk? Stupid? My eyes landed on a piece of clothing, her silk dress. Without thinking, I wrapped it around myself, lifted a corner of the duvet and prepared. To flee? Click. The unmistakable sound of a camera shutter. I whipped my head around. Sophia was standing there, holding her phone, a triumphant smirk on her face. She had just taken a picture of me, in her dress. I scrambled out, nearly smashing my head on the door in my panic to escape. Behind me. I heard her soft, delighted laughter. It only made me run faster. Back in the safety of the guest room, I slapped myself across the face, again and again. Cole, what is wrong with you? Why can't you control yourself? You were so close. It's just a few more days, and you'd be divorced with $100 million in your hand. And now, you've handed all the power right back to her. As I sat there trying to salvage what little pride I had left, I heard her voice outside the door. Get dressed. Come out for breakfast. Then you come into the office with me. I was speechless but mumbled in agreement. On the drive over, we both pretended. Last night hadn't happened. The office building, I held the door for Sophia, hearing the whispers trail behind us. Did you see that? Cole was with Ms. Hayes. You think they... Last night? No way. Ms. Hayes has been waiting for Mr. Crawford for 6 years. Now that he's back, Cole's out. I give it 3 months. 1 month. Sophia's face grew colder with every comment. But I didn't care. I'd heard it all before. I was numb to it. Let them talk. Just wait until I get my $100 million. I'll walk past this building every single day. Let them gawk. Let them crane their necks to look up at me. Over Sophia's expression, but in her eyes, there was a flicker of something else. Smugness. She had me escort her to her office and told her assistant, "Chloe, to schedule an emergency meeting." A notification popped up on my phone. I walked into the conference room. Every seat was filled except one. The seat to Sophia's left, at the head of the table. 24 pairs of eyes turned to me as I entered. Ryan Crawford looked especially surprised when Sophia pointed to that empty seat and told me to sit. The meeting confirmed it. Ryan had been appointed vice president and head of the design department. And I, through Sophia's special consideration, was now team lead. I didn't care. Not one bit. Unless someone was transferring 9 figures into my account, nothing else mattered. Everything else was noise. After all, I went from delivering Uber Eats to working in a marketing department just for the health insurance. From the very beginning, she made it clear. Our relationship was a performance. A transaction. It was all for Ryan's benefit. It's to make him jealous. To win him back. And I hadn't objected. Back then, it had felt like a mutually beneficial deal. But now I regretted it deeply. My entire life was in her hands. Before the meeting ended, Ryan stepped forward to unveil a new proposal. Elian Terraces. The screen lit up with architectural renderings of high-rise villa styles to 18 stories tall. Each floor had sweeping balconies, private miniature gardens. You could grow trees, flowers, even raise small animals up there. "Mr. Crawford, this design is genius," someone said. "It's practically a paradise in the sky." Absolutely. If we build this, it'll redefine luxury green living. I barely listened. My mind drifted back to the last words Ryan spoke to me right before I died. What is this garbage, Elian Terraces? What a joke. This is the project that bankrupts the Hayes family. The project never finishes. The company goes under. Sophia turned to look at me, a long, loaded stare. There was no warmth in her eyes, only calculation. She didn't fully trust Ryan, but it was obvious the project fascinated her. If it succeeded, the Hayes family fortune would explode to new heights. Then suddenly Sophia turned to me. "Cole, what do you think of this project?" I froze. For a moment, then turned to Ryan. I saw the nervousness in his eyes and decided to drop a bomb. I slammed my hand on the table. This is absolute garbage. The room fell into stunned silence. If this were such a brilliant idea, don't you think every major architectural firm in the country, hell, in the world would have already built it? Why would we be the first? Go on, argue with me. Defend your precious project. Then Sophia will feel sorry for you, and we can finally get this divorce over with. Sophia's head snapped toward Ryan. He shot to his feet, his face red with fury, pointing a trembling finger at me. "Cole, you're in marketing. What do you know about architecture?" he spat. "This design was approved by my professors and vetted by industry experts. The patent is pending. Sophia, don't listen to his nonsense. I'll stake my career on it. If this project fails, I'll resign on the spot." Sophia looked at me. I looked at Ryan. No one said a word. Finally, she set the proposal aside and said she'd think about it. 3 days later, Sophia decided to move forward with the project, and then the proposal was leaked. Suddenly, I became the #1 suspect. "Cole, you were the only one who went into the president's office during that time. It must have been you," they said. "A damn delivery boy probably just wanted to sell the plans for some quick cash. You'd better confess, or we're calling the cops and having you thrown in jail." Sophia stared at me. Ryan wore an expression of poorly concealed glee. I turned my eyes to her assistant, Chloe. I locked my gaze on her until she couldn't look me in the eye anymore. Then I spoke slowly. If I'm not mistaken, it was Chloe. She's the mole. She's been feeding information to Ryan this whole time. Her family has ties to his. The goal has always been to swallow the Hayes Corporation whole. Once I get my $100 million, poor Sophia is going to run this company straight into the ground. What a shame. Is that so? Sophia replied coldly. I seem to recall two other people having access to the president's office. Suddenly looked panicked, her body trembling. Kevin, another assistant, stepped forward and pointed at me. Miss Hayes, besides Cole, no one else entered your office during that period? Hearing his confirmation, the accusations from the others grew louder. Even a saint has his limits. I pointed at Chloe. Then at Sophia. What are they? Invisible? Might as well vent some of this frustration while I have the chance. Kevin shot me a hateful look. Are you suggesting Ms. Hayes or Chloe would do this? Chloe's loyalty to Ms. Hayes is beyond question. We've all seen it for years. My opinion, it was Cole. Weird things started happening the moment he joined the company. Sophia glanced at Chloe. Then her eyes returned to Kevin. She forced the words out. Pull the security footage. We'll all review it together. I was speechless. I had been about to take the fall, but these people were relentless. I slumped onto a nearby stool and waited for the show to begin. Kevin went to retrieve the footage. Chloe looked like she was about to break into a sweat, but Ryan shot her a look, silently urging her to stay calm. The footage never arrived. Instead, Kevin returned holding the printed project proposal in his hand. He threw it in my face. Miss Hayes, we found this in Cole's desk drawer. The evidence is undeniable. He stepped back, eyes blazing. Cole, what do you have to say for yourself now? The question echoed from all sides. I stood up slowly. My face was blank. And then I slapped Kevin across the face hard. Who the hell do you think you are? I snarled. Putting your hands on me like that. If you think I stole the proposal, then call the police. I had been reborn. I was done taking crap from anyone in this company, except maybe Sophia. Kevin was stunned. He never imagined I would dare to touch him. The others in the room erupted, closing in on me, ready to pounce. And then at the critical moment, Ryan stepped forward. He placed a hand on my shoulder. There's no need to call the police. It would be bad for the company's image if this got out. He turned to Kevin. And Kevin, who did you think you were messing with? Don't you know who this is? He's our president's husband. Now apologize to him. I didn't even acknowledge Kevin's mumbled apology. Ryan's reach. It's longer than I ever imagined. He already has Kevin in his pocket. How many more people in this company are quietly on his payroll? The smart move is to get my 100 million and disappear. Fast. Knowing Ryan, it's only a matter of time before he comes after me directly. Sophia's brow was furrowed. In the past, she would have brushed this all off. She might hate me, but even she couldn't ignore the scene that just unfolded. If she wasn't careful, she'd lose the company. Just like that voice inside me kept warning. This matter is closed. If there's nothing else, get back to work, she announced coldly. Cole, come with me. You have a lot to answer for. I followed her out of the conference room and out of the building completely. On the sidewalk, she stopped and turned to face me. Her expression was unreadable, layered with pain, confusion, and maybe even regret. Cole, are you really this desperate for a divorce? I didn't answer. In my last life, you threw me out. You used my family to threaten me. You had my leg broken. You left me with nothing but the clothes on my back. What use do I have for a woman like you? After we divorced, I finally said, my voice flat, you and Ryan can be perfect together. We're worlds apart. I'm just a delivery guy. Was never good enough for a CEO like you. But Cole, we've been married for 6 years. I don't want to just throw that away, she said softly. Softer than I'd heard her speak in years. I know I haven't been able to let go of Ryan, but lately, I've been thinking more clearly. You're the one who's right for me. I knew exactly what she meant. Spending more time with Ryan had slowly peeled back the illusion. He wasn't the perfect man she'd imagined. But something felt off. The timing. She wasn't supposed to realize this yet. You don't have to explain anything to me, I said. We've already signed the papers. All that's left is the courthouse. She went quiet. Then, after a long pause, she let out a low, self-deprecating laugh. Help me with one thing. If you do, I'll agree to the divorce and give you the 100 million. How about it? I thought for a second, then nodded. Whatever it takes to end this cleanly. In that case, let's go get dinner first. We'll talk over the meal. We hadn't eaten out together in over 3 years. Sophia always worked late and knew she had a sensitive stomach, so I taught myself to cook meals that were gentle on her. But I was afraid of her temper, so I never served them myself. I just left the containers at her office door for Chloe to deliver. But that was the old life. Her stomach wasn't my concern anymore. Still, I sighed the moment I agreed. Right. Then her phone rang. I could hear Ryan on the other end, asking her out to dinner. She looked at me, then told him firmly, "No. You can go with Ree." Her icy glare sliced through my sentence. I swallowed the rest. When the waiter handed us the menus, I watched her order over a dozen dishes. Every single one seafood. Allergic to seafood, I didn't touch a bite. I just sat there, watching. Then she looked up, realization dawning on her face. "You're allergic to seafood? Why didn't you say anything?" I stared at her, stunned. I had told her more than once. She just never remembered. When we left the restaurant, my mood was heavy. The favor she wanted from me was simple. She wanted me to find proof of Ryan's crimes. Before I died in my last life, Ryan had confessed everything to me, proudly, gloating. But in this timeline, most of those crimes hadn't happened yet. Still, I understood why she came to me. She had no one else. I was a small target. Ryan would never see me as a threat, but who could I turn to? Just then, my phone rang. It was Mark. "Cole, you gotta get over here, man. Gator just won $2 million in the lottery. Plan instantly." Clicked into place. "Marco, listen to me," I said quickly. "You need to keep Gator there for 20 minutes, whatever it takes, and get his phone away from him." After hanging up, I turned to Sophia. "Can you give me a ride to the Sunset Commerce Center? It's urgent." Sophia looked surprised, but she nodded. "Let's go." The usual 20-minute drive took less than 15. Soon as I stepped out of the car, a figure came charging at me. Behind him, another man was yelling, "Cole, stop him! Stop Gator!" I reacted instantly, grabbing the knife from the man's hand and pinning his arms behind his back. Mark ran up, and together we wrestled our friend Gator to the ground. His eyes were bloodshot, and he was screaming, "Let me go. I'm going to kill that scammer. I've got nothing left in my house. My job, it's all gone." I looked to Mark, and he quickly filled me in. After finding out he'd won the lottery, Gator had rushed to buy a house with cash, put down a $500,000 deposit, expecting to pay the remaining $5 million within 3 days. But it was all a scam. Now, he'd lost everything. "Gator, calm down," Mark pleaded. "You're not just living for yourself anymore. You've got your mom, your wife, your son. We can get through this. Cole and I, we're your brothers." Gator's eyes, which had brightened for a brief moment, went dim again. He knew Mark was just trying to comfort him. He knew our financial situations. I sighed, reached into my pocket, and pulled out a bank card. I pressed it into his hand. "There's $2 million on this card," I said quietly. "If you do just one thing for me, it's all yours. But I have to warn you, it's dangerous, and you can't tell a soul." Gator thumped his chest. "Cole, you're a lifesaver. My whole family owes you. One thing, I do 10 for. You." I didn't hesitate. "I need you to tail Ryan Crawford. Find anything that proves he's involved in criminal activity." Gator's expression shifted, serious, focused. He knew what kind of man Ryan was, but with my guidance, he agreed without blinking. "Don't worry," he said, a fire returning to his voice. "They don't call me the best damn bike courier in Seattle for nothing. Tailing people's my specialty." Once Gator was settled, I realized Sophia had been waiting the entire time. She walked over quickly. "Cole, now that that's handled, come home with me." I thought she meant the villa, but she drove me to the old Hayes family estate. I'd only been there twice in 6 years. First time was before our wedding, when my parents came to finalize the arrangements. The second was right after the wedding, a customary visit. I was kicked out almost immediately and never returned. "Sophia, I should probably just go back," I murmured. Truthfully, I'd been planning to take the money and run. The last thing I wanted was to face her parents again. Ow. Sophia shook. Her head grabbed my hand. Her grip was strong. We'll face them together. Just as I opened my mouth to protest, I saw him, Ryan Crawford, walking toward us. Dressed in a designer suit, a multi-million-dollar watch gleaming on his wrist. The message was loud and clear. I looked at him coldly. He was the reason I died. If I had the power, I'd destroy him. But I knew my limits. Sophia, let's go inside. Your parents are waiting, Ryan said with a smirk, shooting me a look full of disdain before reaching for Sophia's hand. I tried to subtly pull mine away, but Sophia's grip only tightened. You're my husband, Cole. Stop trying to run away. I glanced at Ryan. His eyes burned with hatred, directed squarely at me. Sophia frowned slightly, but stayed silent. Dinner began. From the start, my father and mother-in-law did nothing but shower Ryan with praise. I tried to play along, nudging Sophia and Ryan closer together, but each time, Sophia blocked me. Effortlessly. It was like she could read my mind. So, Ryan, you're not planning on leaving this time? That's wonderful, my mother-in-law cooed, looking at him like he was the perfect son-in-law. He's the VP at the company now, dear. He and our Sophia will have plenty of time to connect, my father-in-law added with a smile. I sneered internally. Just wait until Ryan guts this family and takes everything you have. Let's see if you're still smiling then. Bunch of snobs. The Hay family deserves to fall. A sharp pain jolted my thigh. Sophia had kicked me under the table. She turned to me with a venomous glare, then began piling food onto my plate until it was overflowing. As soon as dinner ended, Ryan offered to drive her home, his face smug with confidence. I caught his triumphant smirk. I knew this dinner had been carefully staged by her parents to push the two of them together. After all, these years Sophia, openly longing for Ryan, resenting me, her parents saw the perfect chance to forge an alliance with the powerful Crawford family. But things didn't go as planned. Sophia reached over and took my hand. My husband and I are staying here tonight. Sophia, don't be ridiculous, her mother snapped. Her father joined in. The boy may have saved you once, but you've been married to him for years. That debt is repaid. Can't you see? Ryan still has feelings for you. This is the opportunity you've been waiting for. I sat quietly, letting their little performance unfold, while my mind focused on the $100 million payout I needed. Then Sophia dropped a bomb. Mom, Dad, I'm pregnant. What? But you two have been sleeping in separate rooms. Her mother's voice cracked with disbelief. Her father turned on me, cursing under his breath. I opened my mouth to explain, but Sophia shot me a look that screamed $100 million, and I swallowed my words. Eventually, they gave in. For the first time ever, I was invited to stay the night at their estate. Later that night, Sophia came to my room, but I turned her away, firmly. A month later, the Alliance Terraces project was officially launched, and Ryan began to move. Gator's investigation uncovered damning evidence. Ryan had been secretly meeting with rival banks and the Miller family, one of our strongest competitors. By the time Sophia realized what was happening, it was already too late. Ryan had signed binding contracts, and the CFO had already wired the funds. If they backed out now, the company's cash flow would completely collapse. Even I was stunned. I hadn't realized Ryan had managed to buy off the chief financial officer. While Sophia was frantically trying to contain the fallout, Ryan waltzed into her office, flanked by Chloe and Kevin. Sophia, he said coolly, I know you've been investigating me, but what's the point? The Hayes Corporation's cash flow is gone. The banks won't give you another loan. Your only option is to hand the company over to me. Otherwise, it won't just be you who suffers. You won't be able to protect your parents or even that precious Cole. Sophia turned to her two former assistants. Her voice trembled. I can't believe you'd betray me too. I never did anything to hurt you. I had such high hopes for both of you. Is this really how you repay me? Chloe looked away, guilt flickering in her eyes. But Kevin grabbed her hand and sneered. Oh, please, Ms. Hayes. I hate people like you pretending to care, then turning around and controlling everyone. You remember that dumb rule you made after your little heartbreak? No dating allowed in the office? You said you'd fire any couple you found. Chloe and I were already engaged back then. You held us back for 6 years. Listening from the next room, I felt a brief pang of pity. But the truth was, they'd both chosen high salaries over self-respect, and Sophia wasn't innocent. Either you don't get to impose your misery on others, then suddenly the doors burst open. Sophia's parents stormed in, followed by several police officers who quickly surrounded Ryan and his co-conspirators. Ryan, her father said, his voice like steel, you thought you planned for everything. But you didn't realize this was part of my plan all along. Gave you an opening. I just wanted to clear out every last rat from this company in one clean sweep. Corporate espionage, kidnapping, and that sexual assault charge from your time in Europe? I think you'll be spending the rest of your life in prison. Chloe and Kevin dropped to their knees, begging for mercy. But Sophia didn't give them a chance to speak. You wanted to be star-crossed lovers, she said coldly. A prison cell should feel very romantic for you two. As the police led them away, she looked around for me. But I was gone. She started, calling my phone over and over, panicking, but it was like I had vanished from the face of the earth. Then something clicked. She rushed home. At the villa, all my things were gone. Even the wedding photo on the wall had been torn in half, my side ripped away. She searched everywhere, frantic. Finally, she stood before the open safe. Only 2 copies of the divorce agreement remained. She snatched them out and ripped them to shreds. Next, she went to my parents and sister. But the answer was always the same. They didn't know where I was. With nowhere else to turn, she tracked down Mark and Gator. They handed her a single signed copy of the divorce agreement. Cole said he doesn't want to see you right now, Mark told her. Not unless you agree to the divorce. She stood there, stunned. I don't agree, she said quietly. I don't believe he can truly abandon his parents and sister. When Mark told me what she said, I wasn't surprised. I knew that after we took Ryan down, Sophia wouldn't let me go easily. But I couldn't stand the sight of her. The day I left was the anniversary of the day I was drowned in that river. I knew Ryan's men did it, but it was Sophia's actions that led me there. Even if I never saw that $100 million, I would never be with her again. That was a line I couldn't cross. A few days later, the money appeared in my bank account. I gave 10% to my parents and sister. Then I used the rest to help a poor, remote village in the Pacific Northwest. The place didn't even have paved roads. When it rained, the dirt tracks turned to mud, passable even for tractors. I bought gravel, and with the help of the locals, we built a road to a better future. The village had stunning natural beauty, perfect for tourism. I became a guide, showcasing its untouched charm. Videos I posted went viral. Tourists started to pour in. B&Bs and farm-to-table restaurants began to pop up. Things were growing, thriving. And then one day, one person I never wanted to see again, Sophia. She acted like any other tourist, giving no sign she'd cause trouble. Not a single word to me all day. It wasn't until nightfall that she approached. I was about to turn her down when she handed me a small booklet, a divorce certificate. I went silent. We walked along a tree-lined path under the streetlights. Our shadows stretched long behind us. My stomach rumbled. She heard it and took my hand, leading me to a hot pot restaurant. I watched her order a mountain of ingredients, all my favorites. I didn't understand her motives, but I let myself enjoy the meal. In this new life, I promised myself not to deny simple pleasures, especially not good food. She ordered so much I could only sample each dish. She didn't mind digging in with the same excitement I once knew. For a moment it felt like the old days. After a long shift, me, Mark, and Gator, devouring meat and beer just like this. But watching her eat so much, I stopped her. Her stomach had always been weak. You can't eat like this, I said. What? We're divorced now and you're still worried about me? I thought I heard a faint laugh in her voice. Who's worried about you? I'm just afraid Miss Hayes will fall ill and ruin her travel plans tomorrow. Is that so? She smiled. Well, even if we're divorced, you still have a responsibility toward me. Her voice softened. To be precise, you have a responsibility toward the child in my belly. Her words struck me like lightning. My face turned red. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. Cole, I can vouch for her. What she said is true. We can prove it, too. Voices behind me. I turned Mark and Gator. Behind them stood my parents. And my sister. When she tried to use my family to pressure me, my heart hardened. Sophia, I said, if the child is really mine, I'll raise it, but we can never be together. Her face fell. She could hear what I wasn't saying. She knew I had been reborn. And that after everything she did in our last life, couldn't forgive her. Just then, her parents walked in. They didn't say a word. They just sighed. 8 months later, the babies were born. A pair of twins, a boy and a girl. Sophia left them in my care, using it as an excuse to visit me constantly. But I ignored her every time. Still, she'd often whisper to herself when she thought I wasn't listening. Cole, I was wrong. I know you came back. But why can't you just give me one more chance? Cole, please, just one more chance. Forgive me, just this once. One day I took a deep breath, walked up to her, and asked quietly, how did you know I was reborn? She looked up, startled. You think being reborn is some cheap trick? I said, my voice firm. If I simply agreed, I'd be disrespecting the very meaning of that word. I paused, then added, I'll give you one chance. You wasted 6 years of my life. Now, you owe me 10 years of freedom. A brilliant, tearful smile spread across Sophia's face. And for the next several decades, she was truly good to me.